What is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? It's your boy Goblin, and today I am thrilled to bring you the long awaited and highly requested 2025 drug tier list. Hope you guys enjoy this video. Drop a like if you do. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I'm very close to 1 million, so I appreciate the help getting there. And also, I just made a second YouTube channel, ladies and gentlemen, and on that channel, I'm going to be doing a little bit of shit posting. So if you guys want to tune into that and get some more content every week, go subscribe to @theGBLN2. It will be linked in the comments and description. Go sub, support the channel. I appreciate it. I make no ad revenue on this channel. This is basically for fun at this point. So go support me on the other channels where I do make ad revenue, like the podcast and soon to be the Goblin 2 channel and my Clips channels, all those other places. I'm not going to waste any more time here. I'm sure you guys want to dive into this one, and I do too. So let's go ahead and talk about some of the changes that I've made to this year's list, okay? And starting off with those, we have the list of contenders this year. It is slightly different, so let's go ahead and just run through it. We've got concentrates. We've broken weed down into different categories: edibles, concentrates, and flour. So we have concentrates. We have heroin. Welcome back. Great to see you. We have crack, my good old friend. We have meth. We have opiates. We have fent. We have flour, okay? This year, opiates are just a big category, okay? We're not breaking it down to separate prescriptions or anything. We have flour right here, another kind of subgenre of the weed category. DXM. Edibles, great to see you. Molly, how you doing? Wonderful, you look beautiful today. LSD, wow, very handsome. Alcohol, great to see you once again. Alcohol is a drug. That's right, yes it is. Okay, DMT, that's most certainly a drug. We have ketamine on the list today. We have shrooms. A new contender has just entered, ladies and gentlemen. 7-0. Now, it's very important to make it clear this is not kratom, okay? 7-0 is a component of kratom naturally, but it's not kratom. That is a separate thing that we're ranking on this list right here. I will explain why a little bit later. Blow, welcome back once again. Really great to see you. Wish I could snort you. Adderall, beautiful, just wonderful to see. Only gas? Wow, that's so great. We're not going to rank that today, though. I love that brand, dude. I wonder whose brand that is. Dude, I wonder what happens if I Google that. And last but not least, we have lean, which for some reason is hiding behind 7-0. It's being a little bit shy. Now, these are obviously not the final ranks. This is kind of just where I have all of these things temporarily listed. All right, so coming in with our first contender here on the 2025 drug tier list, let's talk about DXM. For those who aren't familiar, this is the active ingredient in cold medicine. So if you're getting high off like NyQuil or Delsim or Triple C's, this is the chemical that's getting you high when you consume that, okay? Let's be real here. Anyone who's getting high off cold meds, I don't care if you're buying pure DXM, I don't care if it's RoboCough or any of that junk, okay? This is an amateur poverty drug. This is a drug that you do when you don't have enough money for other drugs. People coming up to me and telling me that they do drugs, and then when I ask, they say DXM, is essentially the equivalent of when people say they play video games, then you ask them what games, and they say GTA and 2K. It's like, all right, dude, those are basically the government-mandated video games, and you buy a PlayStation 5. Same thing goes with DXM. I just don't take you seriously if you tell me you do this. I'm sorry. Listen, no disrespect. Well, actually, no, a little bit of disrespect intended to the DXM users. Guys, grow up. Okay, grow up. Literally, I understand maybe you're out of money. You had to go steal from Walgreens to get high. You were desperate. You know what else Walgreens sells? Alcohol. Better option. Genuinely a better option than DXM, okay? DXM goes in the poverty tier of drugs because let's be real, this is something you only consume if you're experiencing poverty. This is not an F tier drug. This is a poverty tier drug. This is a desperation drug. It's like on Naked and Afraid. You see them in the woods like eating snails and shit. The drug addict equivalent of that is consuming DXM. That's rock bottom. All right, let's go next up, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about Molly. Oh, you're beautiful today, Molly. Oh, you're a beautiful girl. I love you, Molly. You look so sexy. Let me tell you guys something about Molly, okay? I don't do it much nowadays. It's not because I wouldn't like to. It's mainly because I think I've completely depleted all the serotonin left in my cranium. When, the last few times I had done MDMA up until I stopped, I had pretty much not rolled whatsoever. I had not, I'd taken it and I felt a little bit, but it was just so weak. And I knew that I didn't underdose. I took a very fair dose. I took over a 0.2, and I don't know what it is. I was, for years, literally doing Molly and Coke lines where I would do probably 3 parts blow and 1 part Molly, and just every single line I was railing. So I was just passively cooking my serotonin without even realizing it. However, that doesn't change my praise for this substance, okay? Molly's an amazing experience, okay? Honestly, you shouldn't try it if you've never done it. It's very neurotoxic. However, it is an incredible experience. One of my favorite memories in probably all of my drug use was my first time rolling. It was a genuine, really awesome experience where I kind of got to bond with some people that I wasn't really used to getting close with and getting fucked up with. And this is a drug that gives you fond memories. There's a lot of other stuff that we're going to talk about on this list that can give you some really horrible memories, maybe even give you some PTSD. This is generally not one of those. This is one that it's happiness in a drug. That's really the best way to describe it. It is pure dopamine, just in a capsule or in a however you consume it. Normally it looks like this in the picture right here. I'm going to go ahead and put Molly in the A tier. If it didn't have the day after, if it had no after or side effects, we'd be talking S or elite. But personally, just being realistic about the day after is real. You wake up the following day and want to blow your fucking brains on the wall. You really, truly, I mean it. That's why it sits in A. But Molly's a cool time. Molly, I enjoyed my experience with this substance. I also want to highlight real quick that this year we don't have ecstasy as a separate category, which we up until this point have had that every single year. The reason I made that change is because I thought about it a little more, and I don't think it's really fair to have cuts of drugs as a separate category, which is why we also took spray pack off, because spray pack is not really different than weed. It's just weed that's been treated. It's cut weed effectively. I don't think it's fair to make that a separate category, so that's why we are foregoing ecstasy as well this year, just to clarify. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, where are we going next, dude? Let's talk about ketamine. Listen, good old ketamine, dude. This is another one that I really haven't done in a long time, but I feel like ketamine is gaining a lot of popularity lately. A lot of my friends who did not do hard drugs really ever, or did it very casually, are suddenly just showing up to the function with bags of K on them, in place of the blow that they'd normally have. Ketamine is spreading. For a while, it was a very across-the-pond kind of trend. A very, UK and Europe type of trend. And guys, hey, I remember Brexit, okay? I know I had to separate between UK and Europe, all right? Now, ketamine is fun. There's no denying that. Ketamine is genuinely fun. My problem with ketamine is K-holing is really absolutely not fun, dude. You're going to piss yourself. You're not going to feel it. You're not going to feel your arms. You're going to turn into a vegetable you could be taken advantage of. If you like getting groped, K-holing might be for you. I personally don't like getting groped. So I mean, I don't really want a K-hole. The problem I have is I accidentally K-hole myself probably 50% of the time I do ketamine, if not more. It dangerous, okay? A true risk this one is. However, it is a very, very fun time. I think the best way to describe the effects of ketamine is probably that it's like a crossfade. It's like you're pretty drunk and kind of stoned, but a little more than that. It's not exactly that, but just being crossed is, I think, one of the best, simple, explanations of what the high of this is like. I enjoy ketamine. Side effects, I don't. It fucks up your bladder. Very bad. This is not a drug that has no side effects or light side effects. No. Ketamine does long-term damage to your body, specifically your bladder. I had a friend in high school. We were still in high school, not even 18 yet, and he was already having K-cramps in his bladder every single day in math class. Okay? Ketamine will run through you, dude. And trust me, those cramps are not pleasant. For that reason, I'm going to put it in B tier. However, I do have to say, I mean, you don't need a lot of it. It's somewhat budget friendly, at least in my opinion. And man, it's not that hard to find good K. It's really not. Finding good blow, especially nowadays, feels like a conquest, okay? It feels like a mission, dude. Every single time any of my homies have busted out a bag ever since my old plug went to jail, it's just the saddest shit, dude. And when I'm around random people that pull out bags here in LA, I just see the saddest looking bags I've ever seen, dude. Good blow is becoming scarce, but good K definitely does not share that same concern, okay? Let's go next up on the list, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, fuck, dude. Oh, my God. Oh, my beloved, my sweet beloved shrooms. Let me tell you guys something. When I was younger, I really didn't like shrooms. I was more of an acid guy. I had a bad shroom trip when I was in high school. I took an 8th, and I had a terrible time, and I almost shit myself on some guy's lawn. And it was a bad time. I'm not going to go more into detail on that. I'm just going to leave it there. But what I will say is that experience scared me off of shrooms for a long time until I had a bad acid trip. And then the reverse happened. I got scared back away to shrooms. I was getting herded around like a little sheep. There was like the psychedelics were barking at me like a sheepdog, dude, herding me around. So I ended up back on the shrooms because I had a fucking traumatizing acid trip, dude. And I discovered that, wow, I just took way too much the first time. I actually really, really enjoy taking light doses of shrooms. I take shrooms all the fucking time. I was just in North Carolina recently. I took some. I was, I take shrooms very often. It's they've genuinely, I think, benefited my life. There's been a lot of scenarios where, like, I've had shroom trips that have left a permanent impact on my brain, that have made me think differently about certain topics that I pondered while I was tripping. It's a drug that is fucking great, honestly. I mean, it's not addictive. You're not gonna overdose and die on it. It's not a lethal substance. It's natural. I mean, the list of benefits, the list of pros for shrooms goes on and on and on. If there's any drug on this whole list that I think should be federally legalized today, it's probably fucking shrooms. I mean, this shit is, I adore shrooms. I have so many positive things to say about them. Shroom trips are so warm and comforting and fun. It's so much more social than an acid trip, which is one aspect I really love. God, I fucking love shrooms, dude. Put them up in elite. Get up there. Take your throne. Go ahead. Have a seat, dude. No, you really deserve it. No, you truly deserve it. And at first, I didn't like the style of visuals off shrooms either. It was a little too intense for me. I preferred the acid style where everything looks like a GIF almost. Like everything has some sort of pattern overlay that's moving. But as time's gone on, I started to prefer the shroom style of visuals where it looks like the objects themselves are actually morphing, which is very cool. Maybe nauseous at first, but I got used to it. Now I fuck with it. All right. Let's not yap any longer about that. We got a lot of shit to get to today. We talk about Adderall. This makes my penis small. I'm not kidding. I've talked about this every year, dude. It makes my dick shrivel up, okay? It turtles up. It turtles up, really, dude. Stand at the urinal off 3 Adderalls and try to piss. Good luck, dude. I have to pull that shit out, all right? I have to stretch it out, dude. What's that little instrument that people play where they have to, like, unfold it and shit? It looks like a paper mache. I don't know the name of that. I'm not going to Google it, but that's kind of what I have to do with my dick when I take Adderall, okay? Let me know in the comments if you relate. If not, oopsie, I don't care. The other thing I don't like about Adderall is that it's just not, it's not fun at all. Like, it sucks. I get it, dude. Oh, yeah, Adderall's really good if you have to take a test. Hey, newsflash, dude, my GPA was 0.8. I dropped out of high school, okay? I didn't have any tests to worry about with my Adderall, okay? The only thing I had to worry about with my Adderall was cold sweats, small meat, and shriveling up, okay? Just completely shriveling up and dying. The feeling that my Adderall prescription used to give me was so awful. Randomly, my heart would just start thumping. I'd start cold sweating. It almost felt like I was having a panic attack sometimes, but mentally I wasn't panicking. It was just like the physical effects of a panic attack. Very, very strange. I always hated it. And maybe it's because I actually had ADHD and still do, and I actually needed it. But for me, learning how to manage my ADHD without the Adderall prescription was 100 times more beneficial than Addy ever was. And I think me actually needing it as a prescription played a huge role in why I never enjoyed it recreationally. You know, like Adderall, all my friends would buy Addy pills off me and they get fucking geeked and they talk about how fun it was and they enjoyed Adderall and it was fun for them. And I'm just like, dude, I don't even enjoy it. Like, I would snort it out of desperation almost. For me, Adderall was almost a poverty drug because I would do it when I had nothing else left. Normally, I would just sell it. But if I had nothing else left, then fuck, dude, I guess I'm just going to do it. Adderall for me, I mean, I can't sleep on the benefits. It genuinely, even for me, as much as I hated it, it worked. I get shit done when I take Adderall. So you can't put it in poverty or F tier for that sole reason. There is a genuine use case for it. So we're just going to put it in like C tier. It's like, okay. All right. Like, there you go, dude. Go be over there. I don't even like you. You know, you're not really a very cool person. Okay. Next up on the list. Oh, baby. Okay. No, let's go ahead and talk about flour. Guys, can I say something really controversial? My opinion on this flip-flops every single year because I go through phases. Sometimes I smoke flour. Sometimes I smoke concentrates. It's always one of the two. I'm rarely an edible guy. But as of late, this has kind of evolved into a really long-lasting phase. Guys, I don't smoke that much flour anymore. Okay, I don't. I have a huge bong collection, and for years I was a big bong guy. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of having to clean my glass every single day. I'm tired of having to switch bongs and switch the water out every day. I'm sick of it. It's tedious to me. With the amount that I smoke, it's tedious to me. And I don't enjoy it for that simple reason. A lot of people are going to say, oh, why not just roll a really fat doink so you have to smoke less frequently? Well, I don't really enjoy smoking joints either. I honestly don't. I can't even really explain why. Maybe it's because I suck dick at rolling them, but even when they're rolled for me, still, I'll typically choose a joint pretty low on the totem pole compared to other ways to smoke. The other thing with flowers, it's just not as smooth. You cough, you get that kind of residue in your lungs. You cough that shit back up. Because at the end of the day, you're smoking plant matter. No matter how good the shit you're smoking is, it's still just plant matter in there. It's not clean. For that reason, flower this year is actually going down to an A for me. Okay? I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. All the flower heads are going to kill me. I'm normally such a flower enjoyer. But this year, flower is down to A for me. I'm sorry. No, I really am sorry. You know what's not down to A? Can we talk about concentrates for a minute? Because let me tell you guys something. Maybe this is just the last stage, final stage of my demonic weed addiction, dude. I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. It's not really an addiction, but maybe, listen, guys, I smoke hash like a chimney right now, okay? I got a new rig last year, and around the same time, I started just smoking way more. I got a new e-nail, too, and it completely changed the game. No more torch for me. I went back to the e-nail, but I got a big e-nail that fits my slurper, right? My terp slurper, which is my little banger. Guys, oh my God, I can take these giant dabs and not cough at all. It's so smooth. I don't deal with the issues of like, oh, my joint's not burning even, or oh, I left a hit in the bowl and I have to get a gross tasting second hit to finish off my smoke. No. Nuh-uh, none of that. Nothing gets wasted by my slurper on a nice e-nail, dude. It's the most efficient way to get fried, in my opinion. Yes, you pay more per gram with concentrates, but it's just max efficiency. It's the best. It's the most flavorful, cleanest way to get high. It's beyond elite, okay? Anyone who says that concentrates aren't legendary, anyone who questions concentrates and says, oh, I don't like them, is smoking poop soup. Don't listen to them, okay? They're smoking bricks of shatter that they got from Uncle's basement, okay? Uncle's basement, he hasn't opened the door since 2011, okay? He's smoking poop soup. Don't take anyone's opinion seriously who disrespects modern concentrates, okay? I think another reason that concentrates are so great is because I could just get absolutely slapped for like 5 hours of just one quick dab. And after that, it's not like the water's completely filthy and I need to change it to get a clean tasting rip next time. No, there's much less maintenance involved in taking a dab as long as you do the proper preparation. You have a little isopropyl dunk station, and that's pretty much all you need for daily dabbing. It's just convenient, dude. I've become a big hash guy. Even though it knocks me out by 2 p.m. and ruins my daily schedule, I still enjoy it, okay? It's elite for me. You know what's not elite, ladies and gentlemen? You know what is not something that you should give your family and friends? Heroin, okay? Look, it was hiding down here in poverty. You see that? Kind of spawned in down there. But that's not where it's going to stay, okay? Because heroin is not a poverty drug, okay? When I think of a heroin addict, I don't always think of someone who is necessarily in poverty. What I think of, with at least the heroin addicts that I knew, before it got really, really bad for them, they were functional for a little while. Heroin addicts, it's an interesting type of addiction because every heroin addict is deeply ashamed of it, at least the ones that I've met. They hide it. Even if they're open about other types of drug addiction, they'll hide the heroin addiction. It's very unique. It's a type of shame, like they know what they're doing is wrong, even if they don't feel that way about the other drugs they do. They know that the heroin is like a different, you've graduated now. You're a different type of addict. When someone, goes and says, hey, I have a drug problem, and you ask them what drug they have a problem with, and they say cocaine, you're going to look at them very differently than if someone tells you they have a drug problem and you ask what problem and they say heroin. That's just the truth. Even if you say, oh, I'm not prejudiced, oh, I'm not biased, I don't judge, you will still process those two addictions differently. Everybody does, Heroin has a stigma around it. I think part of the reason around that is because heroin addiction is brutal and it's fast, okay? It has a reputation unlike all these other drugs. Like, sure, all these other drugs have reputations, don't get me wrong. They don't have the type of rep that heroin has. Heroin is like the last stage of addiction. It's like, oh, damn, it might be too late for this guy. They say they're hooked on oxys. It's like, oh, yeah, we can get you into rehab. We can take you to outpatient. We've got therapy. There's options for you. If it's heroin, your family might throw the white flag up, dude. They might be like, damn, oh, he's going to go die on the street now. It's too late. Heroin, from what I've been told by addicts, also feels absolutely fucking heavenly. From what I understand, out of all the drugs under the sun, heroin feels the fucking greatest, which is partially why it's so addictive. Because the best strategy to not be a heroin addict or to beat heroin addiction is to never ever choose to do it. The only time for a lot of people that you're able to consciously choose not to do heroin is the first time. For most, you're hooked after that first try because it's fucking amazing. It feels heavenly, people. I mean, it's not something that people just try and like, oh, it's whatever. I kind of liked it. No, dude. 9 out of 10 people that try heroin really enjoy the feeling. It's not the kind of drug where like you try acid, for example, and you have a bad trip. It's not like that, dude. Heroin really relaxes the body and gives you this intense euphoria that is dangerous, okay? Don't try it, ladies and gentlemen. All my friends that have done heroin, pretty much except for one, have completely ruined their lives on it. This will tear your life apart. However, I don't consider it a poverty drug. I don't. It's not the same vein as DXM. It's not like a desperation drug. It can get worse than heroin, for sure, for an opiate addict if you're really desperate to get high. It's still a dog shit drug, though. And I think it's a really fair entrant in the F tier, okay? Because it's just fucked. If you're a functional addict, like if you're one of those people who really genuinely can control your addiction, there's people out there who are actually functioning heroin addicts. I know it's a crazy concept to even believe, but there is a small, like 0.1% of people who are like accountants and bankers and are snorting heroin and going to work, okay? I have a buddy who's this type of person. He doesn't do heroin, but he's just a general opiate addict. He does any of that shit. He does the perks, he snorts a lot of blues, and he has a really good fucking high-paying job that he went to college for. And as of right now, is still functioning, okay? These guys do exist out there. Now, you know what is a much less functional addiction and one that kind of brings poverty into my cranium? Meth. Listen, I'm just going to be upfront. I've known a decent amount of meth addicts, less meth addicts than I've known heroin addicts, but a decent amount. I'm from the Midwest, like upper Midwest. Meth is not as common. Heroin is huge where I'm from. Everyone loved the opiates, dude. But meth was still pretty common, especially when I moved to Springfield. Meth became a lot more common. And let me tell you something about meth addicts, okay? Apologies in advance for those of you watching. Meth addicts are retarded. Meth addicts, like, if we took just a 10-person sampling of addicts from every single drug on this tier list, I'm willing to bet a pretty sizable amount of money that the meth addicts would be the lowest scorers on the whole thing, okay? Because they're just... Meth absolutely cooks your brain. You stay up for days and days and days at a time, and that has a lasting effect on your cognitive ability, okay? It's not always, that people who choose to do meth are just stupid. No, it's much more sinister than that. The effect that staying up for 7 days straight on fucking meth benders every single week has on your cognitive ability is nuts. And people that I've grown up with that I watched start smoking meth or snorting or however they were consuming it, I've never tried it personally, they all became retarded. Like, quite literally fried their brains like a fucking egg, dude. It is such an addiction because you start having mental health problems with it too from staying up for days and days straight. Meth psychosis is terrifying. One of my roommates when I was in rehab when I was younger was a meth addict, and he would tell me about his bouts of meth psychosis, and he told me about the time he got arrested naked in an intersection on day 9 of his bender. He hadn't slept the entire time, and he was hallucinating, just literally running through the street naked, and that was on his paperwork, because like part of the reason that he was there. Right? Unbelievable what meth addiction will do to you long term. It also just ravages your body. Have you ever seen those long term meth addicts? If you haven't, go to Circle K and try to buy a pack of cigarettes. The lady behind the counter might give you a good glimpse into it. However, she's probably still a very nice woman as long as she's not currently geeking, okay? The meth makes you very irritable when you're on it, but meth addicts are usually pretty nice when they're not high. This drug fucking sucks, though, okay? And when I think of meth, I think of poverty, okay? Because meth fucks your life up. And also, I mean, come on. Just, come on. This is a poverty fucking drug, okay? This is a textbook poverty drug. It's below F tier. It doesn't deserve to be beside heroin. No. You don't stand in that category, meth, okay? Now, the next thing we're going to talk about I think is kind of in the same vein here. We've talked about meth. We talked about heroin. Let's talk about opiates, okay? Now, this covers basically all the prescription opiates. So we're talking oxys. We're talking narcos. We're talking perks. We're talking, we can cover morphine, hydros. Anything that you consider an opiate, anything comparable to those things is going to fall under this. If we sit here and break it down by every single script, we're going to be here all goddamn day, all right? What I will say is I'm very fortunate to have never been into opiates. This was the one category of drugs that I didn't fuck with. I really didn't care for them, and I am grateful for that. Because, God, these little fuckers are addictive, dude. These little fuckers will make you do anything, all right? I think part of what makes opiates so shitty is that it's an extremely unique drug category, you know? There's not really any other substances that can completely sedate your body the way that opiates do. And opiate addiction is really, really evil because a lot of people get addicted just in the pain relief sense. You know, they're not even looking for the mental high. They just want that pain relief. And there's not any other drugs that can fucking do that. Like, sure, a lot of people say, oh, CBD topicals and ointments and smoke a lot of weed. And yeah, that does help. But it doesn't eliminate your pain in the way that a painkiller does. And I didn't really understand this until I had surgery on my knee when the screwdriver went through it years ago, which once again is a story that we'll save for another day. I've told it in a past video, which is not going to tell the full story, but I got stabbed in the knee twice with a screwdriver, okay? And I got surgery, and they had me hooked up on the like hospital-grade fent straight through the IV, and then they were feeding me fucking opiates after that, all sorts of shit. And in that moment, it like clicked in my head. I remember I was like, holy fuck, dude. The whole, like when I got home from the hospital, the only thing I could think about was those fucking opiates. The only thing I could think about was, wow, nothing feels as good as that for my leg right now. Nothing gives me that relief. I was fiending my dick off. It was the only time in my life I fiended for opiates. It was so powerful that just a short hospital stay was able to rewire my brain like that. Holy fuck, this category of drugs is too good, okay? It's too good. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I'm not going to say it's shitty, just like heroin. No, it feels remarkable. That's why people do it. That's why people do drugs, because they feel good, you know? This is a category of drugs that you should stay far the fuck away from, but, I mean, let's be realistic here. It's less dangerous than heroin and fent, okay, if you're just taking as prescribed script opiates. Extremely addictive, yes, but so are many other things on this list. It's not fair to put these in effing poverty. As much as I really want to, it's not fair. As much as I want to trash these, it would be it would completely compromise my integrity to do so. It's also not in the same tier as Adderall, okay? I view the almost IQ boost that I get from Adderall, the cognitive ability boost from Adderall, way better than the physical boost I get from opiates and that pain relief that you get. At least Adderall has that going for it. Opiates are a D-tier drug, okay? Plain and simple. It was never my cup of tea, and I'd like to keep it that way. And I think that's where we'll leave that. Next up on the list, let's talk about DMT. This is a very interesting one. DMT is something that, I still am waiting on. I still haven't tried DMT. However, the reason I put it on the list is just because, it's a fucking drug. It's a drug. We're going to put it on the list, okay? It belongs on the list. And I know enough about DMT, I think, to rank it. It's not like I'm never going to do it. I wouldn't put something on the list that I have no intention of ever doing. But DMT is a little different. I want to try DMT soon. It's a total out-of-body experience. It's not like a social psychedelic trip like acid or shrooms can be. It's truly a personal thing. You go on this almost journey in your brain just to see what's cooking up there. And this is kind of an interesting story, but when I was younger, some of you guys might remember this from my rehab series, but I was in, I had overdosed on fake acid tabs, and at the time, I didn't understand this was happening, but I had a cardiac arrest when I was, in the back of the ambulance, and for a couple years, at first, my parents didn't even tell me that. They just told me I OD'd on the drug. They didn't tell me I was having a cardiac arrest until after. I remember after I got a rehab is when I think my mom finally told me what really happened that night. Because I'd kind of pieced it together, but I was literally overdosing on fake acid, right? I think it was 25I. I don't really know. I don't know if I'll ever know. But either way, to get to the point here, in that ambulance, when I was on the way to the hospital that night, I was having this really intense out-of-body experience where I was seeing myself through the lens of these different creatures almost. It was like I was it was like a montage of I was a bird. Literally, I remember I was flying over this giant pine forest. It looked like Northern California or something. This giant pine forest with a river. And then I was in a dark room, and I was almost tied to a chair or some shit. And then I remember I was some sort of cat or lion in the savannah or something. And then after that, I was a bunch of different animals. And it was weird because I've always held this belief that was the DMT starting to release in my brain when I was having the cardiac arrest. I don't know if that's the truth. It's probably not. But when I imagine a DMT trip, that right there is what I think it's like. That's what comes to my brain immediately. It's oh, that's a DMT trip. Is that actually what happened? Was it a DMT trip for me? Probably not. I was probably literally just tweaking my dick off on this fake acid while having a cardiac arrest, which obviously gave me an out-of-body experience. But also, dude, I was not really conscious for most of the ambulance ride, apparently. So who knows? Maybe that was. I have no idea. But after that, it kind of reignited my interest in DMT. When I was younger, I was actually just scared of it. And then after that overdose experience and pondering on it for years and years, I'd kind of come to the conclusion in my brain that was DMT. Oh shit, dude, that's my brain releasing DMT because I was fucking dying. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, but it made me want to try it either way. That's why I'm sharing that story with you guys, because it's now I have to try DMT. I'm gonna rank it kind of highly because it's just so unique. It's one of those experiences that sticks with you. We're gonna put it up. Oh man, let's put DMT in B tier. I don't want to put it A. Because A and above is stuff that I regularly consume and would consume again. I don't regularly do fucking deems. All right? Not at all. It's cool. It's whatever. Oh boy. Ooh. All right, let's get fun, dude. Kratom. This is not 7-0 does not count here. I want to make that very clear. Kratom and 7-0 are not the same motherfucking thing. Yes, 7-0 is naturally found in Kratom. However, when you consume Kratom, you're consuming trace amounts of 7-0 found naturally. These 7-0 products are synthesized in what are effectively garage labs by very unsavory companies and individuals with no morals or ethics, and their sole purpose is to get you fucking addicted. Kratom is more geared towards actual recovery for addicts. Kratom, I've seen plenty of addicts successfully get themselves clean and wean themselves off of hard drugs such as opiates using Kratom. It gives a very similar effect to an opiate, like a light opiate dose. Morphine is fairly comparable to what a heavy dose of Kratom feels like, a light dose of morphine. What I don't like about Kratom, I've done it a good amount of times, is you have to consume a boatload of that shit. Like, if we're talking weight-wise, you have to consume a fucking boatload of it to get any sort of high, to really get that relief that you're looking for when you consume it, or just to get high. In order to get around that, you have to consume the concentrates. And the concentrates are fucking disgusting. Unfortunately, there's still a better option than making kratom tea, because you have to scoop basically a disgusting amount of kratom into your tea, or some people just mix it into water and chug it as fast as they can. Consuming kratom just sucks. Even the capsules, you have to take so much. It just sucks, dude. Personally, I respect kratom for being an amazing recovery tool for opiate addicts, but I don't like it personally. It's not something I enjoy consuming. It kind of sucks. The literal only reason that I think anyone should do kratom is if you're trying to get clean from hard drugs. Specifically opiates. Like, hard drugs is too vague. Opiates in particular, kratom is really a godsend for a lot of people. And if you're one of those people who's trying to get clean from opiates, maybe do some research about kratom. You know, if other things aren't working for you, it could be something that works. Now, one thing that I don't recommend for opiate addicts who are getting clean is fucking 7-0. This shit is extremely addictive. I'm not going to get super into detail, but what I will say is I have a whole video that I recently uploaded titled The Most Dangerous Drug in the Smoke Shop that goes into detail about why exactly these are terrible, why 7-0 products are horrible, and you probably should avoid buying them, okay? The actors in this space are predatory. There's no one here that is trying to just sell a good product. All of the products are branded as Percocets. You know, they literally had a brand that's called Perks. It's just straight up says Perks on the box. They have different, like, knockoff lean pints as packaging. The people in the 7-0 space are predatory, and this reminds me heavily of the old, like, synthetic weed, like the Scooby Snacks that was going around the gas stations when I was still in high school. This is like the kratom equivalent of that. And stuff like this is going to get kratom banned. Like, stuff like this is going to... It really genuinely causes a huge problem for kratom, which is a very valid tool of recovery. 7-0, on the other hand, is a very... It's fucked up. It is a predatory product, and it's not even the chemical itself that's predatory. It's the fact that every single actor in the 7-0 space is shit. They're all bad actors. They all just want you addicted to their product so you can pay them more and more and more money. And if you pay attention to the prices that these 7-0 products sell for, they keep, across the board, all of the companies have been progressively, slowly raising their prices together as the time goes on because more and more people are getting addicted. And this shit is so addictive, it gives you withdrawals just like normal opiates. People are being tricked into trying this stuff with no warning about addictive potential. At the time of making this video, the packaging for the majority of the 7-0 products on the market gives no warning about addictive potential. Hopefully that changes with some class action lawsuits that are going down, but at the time of recording right now, your average package has no warning about how addictive this shit is, which, I mean, I can go on and on about how addictive it is, but I'm just going to say, really, truly, go watch my 7-0 video after this. If you have no idea what this drug is, you're about to be disgusted, because this shit is legally sold in smoke shops to kids, effectively, with no ID. This is given out in sample. They have little one-pill sample packs that they give out to anyone who walks in the smoke shop, and they don't disclose to them what they're trying or that it's extremely addictive and can fuck your shit up. 7-0 is a no. Yeah, you know what? It is a poverty drug, because if you go re-up at the smoke shop, that's poverty. If your plug is the smoke shop, that's poverty. Like, oh, yeah, but send me your plug's menu, man. What you got? Elf bars and fucking 7-0? Awesome, dude. Yeah, no, that's poverty for sure. This shit is so terrible. This shit is so addictive, by the way. I've gotten probably over 100 comments at this point from smoke shop employees who have told me stories about how 7-0 fiends will literally line up outside of their shop before it opens, waiting to buy more, like it's a fucking midnight release, dude. Like we're at the GTA 5 midnight drop, dude. Skyrim midnight release. We're fucking 500 deep at GameStop, but we're all fiending for 7-0, and we're surely not at GameStop, dude. God, 7-0 pisses me off. Poverty tier drug, okay? Go watch my video about it. Next up, alcohol. You know, over the years, dude, my opinion of alcohol just gets worse. Like, every year, I think it gets worse. If you asked me to rank alcohol 10 years ago, 2015 to be exact, I would have put that shit in S or Elite tier. I'd be like, oh my God, dude, alcohol is so fun. All these pussies just get hangovers because they suck at drinking, dude. Listen, I've grown up now. The hangovers have caught up with me. Hangovers just keep getting worse. Every year I get older, the hangovers get worse and they become more frequent. At first, it was like, okay, 1 in every 5 times I drink, I get a hangover. Then it was like 1 in every 3. Then it was 1 in every 2. Nowadays, almost every time I drink, I'm going to be hungover and I'm going to feel like shit. And it's just not worth it. It's genuinely not. Alcohol makes you stupid. It makes you sick. It makes you slow. It makes you gullible. I could go on and on about the negative effects that alcohol has. Sure, it's fun in a social setting. I will give it that. Alcohol's fun in a social setting. And I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, I never drink. Because I do. I drink. So do a lot of people here in America, okay? And across the world, honestly, just a lot of people drink. But alcohol fucking sucks. And I almost feel like alcohol is a little too normalized. Something's not balanced here. Why is my weed illegal? Okay, why is my weed not federally legal? But I can go to a bar right now, sit at that bar, get served like 10 fucking drinks, and then just like get in my car and dip. But when I walk in the dispensary, I can't even open my bag of weed when I buy it and smell it in the dispensary. Because they're worried I'm going to get high and I guess just, I don't know, maybe snap and shoot the security guard on my way out and then crash into a crowd. You know, like what? I don't know, man. Alcohol, I like it less and less, and I drink less and less frequently as time goes on. In the past, I would have ranked it highly. I no longer feel that way about it. Alcohol, honestly, kind of feels depressing to drink nowadays. Like, it's almost like, oh God, we're drinking, you know? I'm going to put alcohol in D tier. Like, it's kind of cool. Don't get me wrong. Being drunk has its moments, but it's never worth it. I've never sat there hungover and been like, man, I'm just going to thug it out because that was worth. Every time I'm sitting there, it's almost like in my head, I'm trying to make deals with God. Like, yo, dude, and this hangover, I'll go to church this Sunday and I'll never drink again. Please, dude, hear me out on this one, you know? And unfortunately, he never does, okay? Unfortunately, he never, ever has one time. Ladies and gentlemen, next up on the list, LSD. Acid, my good old friend, okay? When I was younger, I ate a fuckload of acid. If you asked me, like, 4 or 5 years ago where I'd rank acid, probably number 1 out of everything on the whole list. It was my favorite drug on earth. Up until I had my bad trip. I've had a couple trips that I would say are bad trips, but the really, really, like, bad trip I had was in March of, oh man, when even was it at this point? The year is slipping away from me. I think it was 22. I think March of 22. But either way, the year's kind of irrelevant. I remember the month very vividly, though, and I just had a terrible, terrible trip that has stuck with me ever since. I've never taken acid again since that trip, and I don't know if I ever will. Like, I think I'm just done for good. But that completely changed my perspective on it. Because there's not really any other drug on this list, except for shrooms, I'd say. No, actually, DMT. The other psychs are the only other drugs that can give you this bad of an experience. But acid trips are a different type of bad. A bad shroom trip is not very long-lived. Bad shroom trips generally end pretty quickly. The kind of period of peaking on shrooms is relatively short. And the come-down period on shrooms is somewhat long, and it's pretty pleasant. Like, even when you're coming down from a bad trip on shrooms, it's pretty pleasant, the come-down. Acid is not the same way. Acid come-downs, even on a good trip, it just feels like you're waiting for all the last bits of acid to simmer out of your brain so you can fall asleep at the end of it because you're just so drained. I never finish an acid trip and I'm like, oh, I have so much energy. I always just immediately am laying in bed for hours trying to wait until the fucking wall stops having an oriental pattern over it so I can maybe close my eyes and try to fall asleep, okay? When I have a bad trip, that's really exacerbated, dude. That's really, oh my God, dude. Just traumatizing is the best way to describe a bad acid trip in a way that I haven't had with any other drug, okay? And it bumped down my opinion of acid. It also just lasts too long. It feels like it'll never end because acid lasts for 10 to 12 hours, even off just one dose, no redose. And in a bad trip, that 10 to 12 hours feels like 10 to 12 days. And it fucking sucks, dude. It sucks. It feels like it's never, ever going to end. And for that reason, acid must go down in the A tier, ladies and gentlemen. It's going in the A tier, okay? I repeat, it's going in the A tier, dude. Okay. Now, next up. Let's go next up. Crack, ladies and gentlemen. Good old crack rock, dude. Ooh. Little bit of crack rock never hurt nobody, including myself. I can tell you firsthand. Let me tell y'all. Crack is kind of whack, man. It lasts 2 minutes. It made me punch my mom's kitchen cabinet and yell really loud after cooking the crack on her spoon in her kitchen with her utensils. And then I was just kind of frustrated at the end of it all. Like, wow, that we did all that buildup, thinking like, wow, this is the next level of my drug use. I'm about to smoke fucking crack. Then at the end of it, I'm sitting there and I'm like, wow, that was one of the most retarded things I've ever done in my life. I don't think I'll ever do it again. So underwhelming, guys. I really mean it. Crack is so underwhelming. I was sitting there thinking going into it, dude, this is going to be the craziest experience, craziest high of my life, okay? I barely even remember the high of it at this point. It was so forgettable. It's more I just remember the story of how we decided to make crack and smoke it that day, you know? But, like, the actual smoke and effect of it, just so underwhelming. So underwhelming. I smoked some booty-ass crack, to be fair. That fire crack rock might have y'all tweaking, dude. Who's the crack plug in GTA 6? I want to smoke some of that shit, dude. Booby Ike? Let me talk to Booby Ike. Okay, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, crack is pretty whack, okay? Would I rather smoke crack or drink alcohol? Fucking honest to God, maybe smoke crack, dude. For that reason, it's going in D right beside the homie. Alcohol, dude. Listen, a couple of years ago, I would say Jägermeister. I'd rather drink Jaeger than probably half the drugs on this list. Today, dude, you put a bottle of Jaeger and a fucking crack pipe in front of me, that pipe's getting slammed. Just being honest, okay? All right, next up. Oh, Fent. Ooh, look at those little rainbow pills of death, okay? F for Fent. I mean, dude, it's fentanyl. You know what's crazy, though, is people are starting to, like, choose Fent. Like, people want fentanyl. Not starting to. They've been doing it for years now. But, like, people want fentanyl now. What's the next stage of this? Because this isn't the final frontier, surely. Like, opiates don't just stop here. What is the next, like, sketchy chemical that's going to come out to graduate Fent? You know, what's going to beat that? That's really what's scary, because Fent's already killing a lot of fucking people. But we have Narcan, so we can just kind of keep people in this indefinite loop of like, oh, you're dead, oh, you're alive. Oh, you're dead, oh, you're alive. What happens when the next drug comes out and Fent starts looking like pussy shit, kind of like what just happened to heroin? I think we're fucked then. Alrighty, folks, look, we're getting pretty far into this, dude. Next up, dude. Only Gas, man, the best fucking THCA brand in the world, dude. Holy fuck. No, I'm kidding. No, dude, that was just a shameless little plug right there. No, don't worry, that was just a shameless little plug right there. Okay, now next up for real, though, is edibles. I have an issue with edibles because this is totally just a personal thing. I wish this wasn't the case for me, but if I eat a 100 milligram bag of edibles, I quite literally feel nothing. I will not get high. I have a disgusting threshold dose for edibles where, like, anything below 500 milligrams-ish, give or take, is probably not even going to do anything. Like, it's a waste. Save it for someone else. Maybe it's because I'm a fat fuck, all right? Maybe it's because I smoke a boatload of weed every day. Realistically, it's probably the combination of the two. But the dose of edibles I have to take is so high that it's similar to K-holing for me, where there's a switch that flips. I'm either not high at all off the edible, or suddenly I'm drooling on myself and I have anxiety and I'm high for 2 days, okay? That is the only way that I'm able to get high on edibles. I literally have to eat like close to 1,000 milligrams, and then I'm just stupid. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's my perpetual state of already being pretty stoned, but like I can't get high off edibles. There's never a situation where I take an edible and I'm like, oh, I'm pretty high. Oh, I'm moderately high. No, it's either I don't feel anything at all, or like it feels like I'm taking off in a spaceship and all the windows just popped off. Okay? No in between. For that reason, I'm not a very big edible guy, and I put edibles in C tier. I think they're mid, okay? I would happily take an edible over consuming anything below it on this list for sure. However, edibles are just kind of whack for me. They don't do it, unfortunately. All right, folks. No. We got two last ones. Let's talk about lean. Okay? Listen, I moved to LA recently, and I've witnessed a lot of lean drinkers firsthand. And let me tell you something. Their favorite thing to do is wake up and get finessed, okay? They wake up, they find a guy who went to the pharmacy, wrote himself a fake script, and got the pint for $10, and they pay him $4,000 for it, okay? And then they go home, and they drink it, and they make themselves really stupid until they fall asleep. And then they wake up the following day, and they text the guy, and they do it all over again. Okay, I recently had a very big content creator who had like over 1 million subscribers over to my house like a month, not even a month. No, it was like weeks after I moved here. I had a brand new white couch, and the first thing this guy does is spill lean on it. Okay, listen, I don't enjoy lean. I've drank it a few times. It costs too much money. The value proposition is absolutely not there. Far worse than cocaine. $100. Would you rather get 1 to 2 fluid ounces of lean, or would you rather get a nice bag of blow? Personally, I know my decision, okay? Lean fucking sucks. It's expensive. It destroys your liver. It slums you out. It doesn't make you like a fun, energetic person to be around. It just makes you stupid and tired. It sucks, man. It really, really, really sucks, okay? All right, ladies and gents, we have just 2 more here. Now, listen, I realized that I forgot to show you guys the benzo entry earlier, okay? That's the only one that I forgot to pull up for you guys, all right? Don't worry, though. It's on the list, ladies and gents, and I certainly didn't forget to talk about it. Now, in the benzo category, we're covering everything, okay? Xanax, K-pins, everything that's a benzodiazepine falls into this ranking, all right? Dude, I love to hate Xanax. I love to sit here and tell you guys every time I can that Xanax is the devil and I hate it so much. And the reason I do it is because every single fucking day without fail, I wake up and I think to myself, holy shit, do I want to take a fucking ladder right now? I'm not joking either. Like, I'm not just saying that for effect. To this very day, I was thinking about Xanax today, and yesterday, and the day before, and the day before that too. I think about Xanax and fantasize about it in a way that I don't even do with cocaine, and I was a cocaine demon. I was not the same with benzos, although, actually, no, that's denial. That's cope, actually. I was a benzo. Fuck, I was a bar-tard. A certified bar-tard. Benzos feel amazing. These are the devil. These little fuckers are so easy to get. They're so cheap. They're accessible. They're easily consumable, and they hit like straight heaven in a pill, okay? If you just have problems in your life, any sort of problems in your life, you had a bad day, you broke up with a girlfriend, family member's mad at you, family member died, pop a Xan. Instantly, problems are just rinsed away. It is so dangerous because once you start dealing with your problems like that, how else do you do it? You will never know how, because it is objectively the best way to deal with your problems, okay? It is not the healthiest by any means, but just objectively, if your sole intent is just, I don't want to be upset right now, I don't want to feel this way right now, pop a fucking Xan, okay? This category of drugs is brutal. It is dangerous. It is so addictive. It is so hard to quit. Oh my God, dude. Benzos, I have negative, naughty things to say about you. But that's only because deep down, okay? You're like that one girl who, even though you cheated on me 20 times, you could still send me that "you up" text. And I'm not going to wait to open it. I'm going to open it immediately. That's how I feel about benzos, dude. It's that grimy little whore in my life. You know what? But I'm a grimy little whore too, okay? And for that reason, oh my God, don't tell anyone about this little slut, dude. This dirty little whore in my closet, dude. Fuck, but that little skank's going in A. And not, oh my God, not because, listen, I'm not going to sit here and put them in F. I'm not going to lie to you guys. It's not an F tier drug. Benzos are, like, if we're just objectively speaking about the drugs ranking, it's an amazing drug. That's why I hate it. Stay the fuck away from it, because it'll ruin your life. Benzos will absolutely make you a stupid, poor idiot, okay? That's their job, and they do it well. Ladies and gentlemen, the last thing on this list. Look at that. I think we did it. I think we did a good job this year. The last thing we have to rank on our list, Blow-cane. Oh, he's hiding. Look, he's being shy. Hey, there you are, little buddy. Hey, I see you hiding back there. You're like the bags of blow that I hallucinate and think I lost after I've been up for 3 days. And I think I saw you poking out from the cushion behind the couch, so I had to disassemble the couch, okay? Whew! Ladies and gentlemen, listen, okay? You probably all know by now, my relationship with cocaine was a strong one, and it was a toxic one, but it was a romantic one, and it was loving, and we fucked. I mean, it was just so deep and so raw, and just, oh my God. Oh, I would look cocaine in the eyes every night. Oh, my sweet Mother Mary. Guys, let me tell y'all, coke is just, on paper, I love it so much, because I really appreciated being clear-headed. You know, it was like the total opposite of why I liked benzos. I like benzos specifically for when I just didn't want to deal with my issues anymore and I just wanted to be stupid. But blow had me convinced that it was making me more productive and it was making me Superman. That feeling of just total euphoria and almost just cockiness that cocaine would give me that no other drug did was intoxicating. I fell in love with it so quick. And I was immediately under the spell where I genuinely believed, like, wow, dude, cocaine is really making me a better person, dude. Look, I haven't eaten in 3 days, so I'm losing weight. On top of that, I'm also getting all this stuff done. In reality, it's just everything felt like a monumental task because I was shaking and cold sweating, all right? So everything felt really hard to do. But blow is also, I mean, listen, it's coming clutch. Listen, end of the night, top of the fourth quarter, all right? We're down 28-3. I pull that bag out when I'm like 10 beers deep. That motherfucker's looking like Tom Brady, okay? That's a clutch player right there in the moment. Okay? You can't deny that. On top of that, let me tell you something. If you're at a party, the ladies aren't really looking your way, pull out a bag, brother. They're going to look your way. Okay? It's going to be expensive. And when that bag runs out, they might not look your way anymore. But sometimes that's a chance you got to take. You know what I'm saying? However, it's an extremely expensive habit, okay? It's extremely addictive, and coke is depressing, man. My coke addiction was sad. I wasn't out partying and passing my bag around to the hoes every night. No. Towards the end, it was returning into, wow, I'm at my desk, I'm cold sweating, I've been up for 3 days, I keep thinking I heard my mom call my name, but she's really not even home, and I'm just having auditory hallucinations. This is kind of fucked. Let's go to sleep. So I lay in my bed, and I can't stop my nose from bleeding, and I'm up for 6 more hours trying to stop my nose from bleeding so I can fall asleep, and I finally fall asleep after 6 hours, and I wake up, and then I stay up for 3 more days doing blow, and I do it all again. Evil, evil, evil fucking drug. But I would honestly be lying to you if I ranked it poorly. If I put it in D or F or poverty, I would be doing a dishonest rating, okay? I would be trying to fearmonger, okay? I think I could still be honest about where the drugs are while, you know, discouraging you from consuming them. Blow, I mean, dude, I think it's going to go B for me. It's not going to go A. I objectively think benzos are better than blow, but I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But really, as the years go on, the cocaine speaks to me less and the benzos speak to me more. The benzos are the evil little voice in the back of my head that I've never shook. The coke quieted down. The coke shut up. I think that's why coke has fallen a little bit in the ranks here. You know, it's because it's that demon that it finally shut up. But the benzos get louder, it feels like. I don't know what to do about it, dude. I'm scared. I don't feel like I'm going to relapse on benzos or anything. I'm not sitting here seeking them out. But it's just this thought that I can't fucking kick. You know? It's so strange to me that the grip that it has on my brain. You know? It's unbelievable. But fuck me. I guess I got to stay away from it. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an empty S tier, and every other tier is filled out. That completes our tier list here. So once again, let's go through the results. In the elite tier, we've got shrooms and concentrates. A great showing out of these two, okay? Skip the S tier because nothing belongs there. In the A tier, we've got Molly, flour, acid, and benzos. In the B tier, we got ketamine, DMT, and blow. And in the C tier, we have Adderall, edibles, and lean. Bringing us down to the D tier, we've got opiates, kratom, alcohol, and crack. Bringing us down to the F tier, we've got heroin and fent. And last but not least, in our beloved poverty tier, DXM, meth, and 7 now. Ladies and gents, what should you learn from this video? Don't be a poverty drug consumer. Other than that, I'm going to leave that up to you, ladies and gents. I hope you all enjoyed the 2025 drug tier list. Make sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And also, make sure to go sub to my second channel, which, like I said earlier, is going to be linked below. Because trust me, you don't want to miss the extra content, all right? And I don't want to miss the fucking ad revenue, so go tap in. Thank you all for watching. I will see you all in the next one. Deuces.